Good evening. The most advanced technology in the world has been introduced at Gatwick Airport to combat the problem of lost luggage. According to the latest figures, 24 million items are lost every year worldwide, with 10,000 bags lost in Europe every day. But figures are down 60% over the last decade. Well, our transport correspondent Mike Pearce had an exclusive look behind the scenes.
For passengers, there's nothing worse than bags being lost or not making a flight. This new multi-million-pound system at Gatwick is the most advanced of its type in the world and aimed at helping every bag get to its destination. After luggage gets a traditional tag at check-in, it's placed on a tray. Inside is a chip that reads the tag and identifies where the bag needs to go. It's sent along this complex system of conveyor belts to be loaded onto the correct flight.
When you invest in this sort of money, you really want the best in class, you want the best technology out there, and this really is state-of-the-art technologies in practice, helping passengers and helping the airlines grow.
Well, this new system is part of a £186 million investment to upgrade facilities here in the South Terminal. Every hour alone it can cope with more than 4,000 bags passing through it. But here's the really intelligent part. If the departure is much later in the day, the luggage is automatically stored in this holding area until the time it needs to go to the flight. It means passengers can check in bags up to 18 hours before they fly if their airline is part of the scheme.
Electronically and completely automated, what the baggage system will do is recognise a bag, recognise its destination and the time of its departure, and if there's time to spare, it will come into this early bag store and wait until it's time to be called forward for the flight.
And it's all done with an intelligent system.
So this is one of the state-of-the-art baggage systems around the world, so it's all totally intelligent and able to recognise each bag, and every bag has a unique identifier.
All passengers want are their bags to make the flight and arrive. The new system should help. Mike Pearce, ITV News, Gatwick.
In other news, a woman who was murdered in Bournemouth has been named as 26-year-old Natasha Wake. Police were called to Harley Gardens yesterday and found her with serious injuries. She was pronounced dead at the scene. A 26-year-old man from Devon remains in custody. A deadline has been set by Southern Rail to try and end the industrial dispute. The company is offering a £2,000 payment to conductors once the dispute is settled. It also guarantees jobs until 2021. Staff now have until midday on Thursday to agree or lose their jobs. The company says they have no other choice.
Well, our customers have undergone serious disruption now for a number of months. There's a threat now of a further 14 days of strikes over the next 3 months, so we really need to bring this matter to a head. Our customers are asking us how we're going to resolve this, and the way we're resolving this is by putting an enhanced offer on the table in the hope that the RMT leadership will accept that.
We're not prepared to consider selling jobs or selling the safety conditions of the railway for £2,000. That's just an out-and-out bribe, and it's not really a part of our view of safety on the railway. This is a dispute purely about safety, not about money.
Well, the dispute at Southern Rail has been centre stage at the Tory Party Conference today. From Birmingham, Phil Hornby sends this report.
The Transport Secretary arrived for his speech bang on time, unlike most of the trains in our region he's responsible for. He didn't mention Southern by name, but everyone knew what he was talking about.
A small hardcore of trade union leaders have been misleading their members and calling them out on strike. The minority of union militants do not want to know, do not care, do not want a good deal for our passengers.
Also today, a renewed commitment to HS2, the high-speed rail line that'll run through parts of Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire.
Our whole country will benefit from this new project.
His biggest decision, where to build a new runway, is just weeks away. No clues today about Heathrow or Gatwick, but a clear message that doing nothing is not an option.
By building a new runway in the southeast, we will send a signal to the world that Britain is open for business.
Britain open for business is a big theme of this conference after the referendum result. They queued for hours yesterday to hear the Prime Minister's Brexit speech.
We're going to make a success of it.
You trust Theresa May to get this right?
Of course I trust Theresa May, but I would say that one. No, I do, yeah. I think she's had a very strong, stable position in government for the past 6 years. She's very experienced.
Do you envy her the job?
No, not really. No, it's tough.
No, not at all. I think
I used to want a job once upon a time.
Once upon a time you wanted to be Prime Minister, but you don't now.
Well, I was about 17.
There's hundreds and hundreds of people in front of you here trying to get into here. President Obama was right, wasn't he? You're at the back of the queue.
I may be at the back of the queue. I don't on the whole feel the party is at the back of the queue.
The main subject on the timetable for tomorrow, grammar schools. Phil Hornby, ITV News, Birmingham.
A mother from Surrey has been fined £200 in order to pay £2,000 in costs after being found guilty of taking her 10-year-old son out of school without permission. She refused to pay a penalty charge of £120 when she took her son on holiday last Christmas, missing 11 days of school. The court heard she'd done the same for the past 4 years, and outside court she said she'd do it again.
I will, unfortunately, because I have to, because of my family situation. I'm going to Poland because I'm helping my mother and my grandmother, and this is simply related to our family situation. And we are making sure that his attainment doesn't suffer as a result, and we have no other option. So, yes, I may end up being prosecuted next year again.
And finally tonight, the Sussex town of Petworth has been remembering one of the most tragic events in its history. 28 children and 4 adults were killed when 3 bombs fell on a boys' school during the Second World War. Richard Jones has the story.
80 children were at school the day that the bombs fell. More than a third of them died, along with their head teacher and another member of staff. All lie here in a shared plot just outside town. Those lucky enough to have survived still come to this annual service to remember. Tony Penfold lost 2 cousins. After the first bomb, he tried to make his escape.
The headmaster was still sitting at his desk and I bypassed him. I got into the next room and then the second bomb dropped that absolutely devastated the school.
I was buried, I was fixed to the ground with the rubble. And it wasn't until I'd been under the rubble for over an hour that voices, Canadian voices, started to come through.
I think the main thing is seeing the look on my mother's face when she arrived, when she'd been told at the town that the school had been bombed, and she ran down the street and I just managed to free myself.
You only have to look at the photographs of the event and of the funeral procession, etc. The whole town were impacted, either because they lost children or because their children survived or they were relatives.
No one knows why the school was bombed. One theory is that the Germans were targeting Canadian soldiers camped out at Petworth House just over there. Another is that they were jettisoning bombs before flying home. Some of today's Petworth children are related to those affected. One says his family didn't know about the survival of 2 boys until hours after the bombing.
The worst thing was their parents didn't know until it was at night that they had been injured or killed or anything.
My 2 great uncles were not at school that day, so luckily they survived because of the weather. It was very bad.
As well as memories, there is one relic of the school, its bell, which now hangs in Petworth Primary and still occasionally tolls. Richard Jones, ITV News.
Now we've got a new look to our weather today with the forecast. Here's Simon Parkin.
From sleet to the slopes, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Good evening. Well, it has been a pretty gorgeous day and there's some fine weather to look forward to tomorrow. A bit more in the way of cloud, but some decent sunny spells, and it will stay dry and it will also stay warm. Basically, we've got high pressure out to the northeast of us, and that's keeping all of the bad stuff at bay. So the weather fronts, the low pressure, kept well out to the west for us. As I say, we will see an increase of cloud as we head through tonight. It's pushing in from the west, generally quite high cloud though, and it does mean it's not quite as cold as it was last night. Temperatures last night got down to -0.6 in parts of Oxfordshire. For tonight, double figures for much of the night, perhaps around 7 or 8 in some rural spots. So tomorrow morning, bit of a greyer start, but as I say, it is high cloud that we'll be waking up to. Hazy sunshine, but from the east, you'll notice that cloud tends to get chipped away as the day goes on. Bit more in the way of sunshine developing, hence that cloud shadow disappearing. And because of the sunshine, the temperatures will creep up quite nicely, highs of around 16, 17 degrees, which is pretty good going for this time of year. And then for Wednesday, another good day with more sunshine around, more cloud though, towards the end of the week.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
And that's all from us. We're back during Good Morning Britain from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. But from me and from all of us here on the Late Team tonight, thanks very much for your company. See you tomorrow. Good night.